Battle for the budget. Temple update followed President Theobald to Harrisburg, where he fought for increased funding for the university.
Oklahoma is one of several universities where fraternities are under fire. We'll talk to members of a Temple frat that was kicked off campus.
And Street Smarts, how one Temple alum is helping people defend themselves in Philadelphia. Temple update starts now.
Hello, I'm Phil DuPont.
And I'm Becca Hendrickson. The battle for the budget continues at the state capitol.
Temple Update was there for President Theobald's trip to Harrisburg as he testified for an increase on the state budget.
Temple joined 3 other state-related schools in the capitol for the budget hearing.
Update's Melissa Steininger joins us live now from the newsroom with the details.
Melissa, what are the chances of the education budget being approved as is?
Well, Becca, it's still too early to tell. The final budget won't be approved until July 1st. President Theobald went to Harrisburg to argue for the increased funding that's in the proposed budget. He emphasized what he says Temple is doing to keep college more
affordable.The focus of the 3% is all on students. It's holding down tuition and it's providing financial aid to students so that individuals will pay less.
President Theobald told the legislation Tuesday education needs to be affordable and accessible. The governor told Temple Update the university will see around $15 million more than previous years, calling Temple a staple of higher education.
44% of our students who graduate in 4 years, they have the lowest debt of any university.
Biggest issue in higher education is student debt. And Fly-In 4 is our initiative to deal with that. So I wanted to make sure the group knew what we were already doing money. People want to invest in a university that's doing well.
Seeing the Fly-In 4 programs in action seems to have resonated with the Appropriations Committee.
And the Temple University administration devised a plan that could directly address the issue of graduation rates, the importance of finishing in 4 years, and to say we're going to incentivize.
After the university presidents finished up the appropriations meeting with the House, they headed over here to the North Office building to discuss with the state Senate.
But we can't put people in poverty, literally, and have them have to pay off debts for most of their lives because the cost is so high.
President Theobald argued Temple would keep that cost down by freezing the tuition. All they need is an approval.
These are the kinds of things that state government is interested in doing. Let them know how they can help us. So I thought the session went quite well. Yeah.
So, Melissa, first, what's the next step for the budget?
So many of the legislators there on Tuesday seemed really responsive to the university. And there'll be a few more hearings before, and the budget will change and morph before an approved final form.
Now, Phil, you were there with Melissa on Tuesday as well. The House representatives brought a lot more to the table than just your typical questions.
That's right, Becca. While senators seemed a lot more focused on the dollar, the state representatives tried their best to focus their questions in the House to their homes.
And when you look at what the students, for just as thought as example,
What they've described here today justifies why we need to be making investments in that tool and ensuring that access to education is affordable.
While some House members commended the 4 university representatives who gave testimony, some took to the podium to voice their concerns.
I'm kind of stagnant on this as a parent.
Many also shared their opinions on other topics, like student performance.
We've heard a lot of frustrated parents and students about these high-stake testing, standardized tests.
Topics ranged from personal anecdotes about complaints from voters to concerns about online education.
So if you could just speak a little bit about students that might be involved with receiving the FIA grant and also where you're at with distance learning.
As the meetings came to a close and testimonies wrapped up, Temple Update caught up with committee members who gave us their thoughts on what the university leaders had to say.
At the end of the day, we have to filter out where we can get that money and then make sure we appropriately dispense it to the universities and the many other needs of our budget.
What you see initially as to what's being proposed by the governor may not necessarily be the end result or the end outcome once we finish all of this negotiation. So
Today with Temple Update as the General Assembly moves toward a final vote on the budget.
Former Lieutenant Governor Jim Cawley is back on the Temple Board of Trustees. He had served as former Governor Tom Corbett's non-voting representative on the board. The Board of Trustees elected Cawley as a voting member at its last meeting. Cawley holds both a bachelor's and a law degree from Temple. Well, control the controllable. That's the message Temple basketball is sending this postseason.
And now they're headed to Madison Square Garden.
The sports desk Rocco DeSangro is live at the Liacouras Center, where last night's win over Louisiana Tech advanced Temple to the semifinals of the NIT. Rocco, last I heard Will Cummings, he was still pretty mad.
Will Cummings is on a mission to cut down the nets at Madison Square Garden. And after last night's win over Louisiana Tech, Will and the rest of the team are just one step closer to their goal. On their path to the NIT championship, Temple has taken down Bucknell, George Washington, and last night, they pummeled Louisiana Tech. But senior point guard Will Cummings still isn't satisfied.
I think I made the statement, we're going to win NIT, and that's kind of where I've been focused.
Temple rolled over Louisiana Tech last night, 77-59, to advance to the NIT semifinals at Madison Square Garden. And after being left out of the NCAA tournament, Cummings and the Owls have been playing with a chip on their shoulder.
The guys in the locker room, we want to make a point. We're still kind of bitter about it.
Now, the Owls couldn't control the selection committee's decision, but there's one thing they can do.
And all we can do is control what we control and just keep playing basketball and playing good basketball.
And control the controllable. University of Miami, Tuesday night in the NIT semifinal at 7 p.m. as they continue to survive and advance and play Temple basketball. Reporting live from the Liacouras Center for Temple Update, I'm Rocco DeSangro.
A former Temple football player has been arrested and is facing human trafficking charges. Matt Brown was an all-purpose player for the Owls from 2009 to 2012. He and another man were arrested in Baltimore after police responded to a suspected prostitution ad. Police say Brown brought 3 underage girls to a Baltimore hotel. He and the other man were taken into custody. The girls were classified as victims of human trafficking. Growing problems with Greek life. Scandals continue to erupt at fraternities across the nation, and the universities involved are cutting ties. An online video shows members of Sigma Alpha Epsilon fraternity at the University of Oklahoma performing a racist chant. The universities cut ties with SAE, and members were forced to move out of the house. Days later, Penn State suspended the Kappa Delta Rho fraternity after members allegedly posted photos they took of unsuspecting naked women on a private Facebook page. Now, before this string of Greek life scandals caught the national spotlight, Temple disbanded a fraternity of its own.
Temple kicked Tau Kappa Epsilon off campus last fall for violating the good neighbor policy, among other charges. Update's Chris Williams talked to a TKE member about the sanctions and the efforts to be reinstated.
Across Temple University's campus, Greek letters can be seen proudly on display, symbolizing leadership and philanthropy. But for the last 3 weeks, these letters have been tarnished by scandals throughout the country.
Temple does have experience sanctioning a fraternity. Behind me is TKE, and they paid a much heavier price than just a suspension.
At the end of the day, we got kicked off for throwing a party.
Last October, Tau Kappa Epsilon, or TKE, was disbanded for alcohol abuse at a social event, violating the good neighbor policy, and noise complaints. They cannot associate themselves with the university for the next 5 years.
I've felt betrayed from my own school. It's become apparent that they care far more for their reputation than the state of their current student body.
Temple has issued a statement in regards to these conflicts, saying, "We encourage organizations to take the time to reflect on the current and potential value that they can bring to a campus and grow from the lapses in judgment that have occurred."
I truly, genuinely hope that what I've experienced and what this organization has gone through doesn't happen to any Greek organization or any student-run organization, because it just was not fair.
Updates Chris Williams reporting. Well, in order to build up, you must first tear down. Temple Update is bringing you continuing coverage of construction on campus. The Board of Trustees has approved the demolition of Barton Hall and William Penn High School. Tearing down William Penn will cost $8.5 million. The site will be used for new athletic fields and a jobs training center. Barton demolition will cost $4.8 million. It's making room for the new library.
Ding, 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 we have a winner. Earlier this semester, I showed you how different disciplines competed to create a sustainable building for the Temple Community Garden. The winning structure will feature a greenhouse, use solar power, and act as a meeting place for TCG members. Judges say this design stood out because it can be turned into a stage or movie screen for community events. Engineering student Ian McFarland believes the many different interests and majors on his team led to their success.
I don't think it was because of the money or the reward or anything. We were here because of the tiny house design.
The winning team is made up of 2 architects, an engineer, a physics major, and an urban studies student.
Well, Phil, you know, we're getting dangerously close to April, and we really haven't seen any spring weather yet.
Yeah, updates. Taggart Houck's going to join us live outside. Taggart, when can I put away my coat?
Well, guys, it's a fairly nice morning outside. In fact, we've even got a little bit of spring planting going on just behind me. But first, let's get a look at our current conditions. It's 42 degrees and partly cloudy at our studio. We're expecting showers later this afternoon, but look for the temperature to get up to about 66 degrees. Now, if you don't mind the rain, enjoy that temperature while you can, because it's not going to stick around. I'll have all the info on the possible spring cooling and possible snow showers coming up later in my 5-day forecast. And as always, stay with Temple Update and TempleUpdate.com for the latest. Guys?
Thank you, Tag. Coming up on Temple Update, remember her name. The star of the Taney Dragons visited Temple to sign her new book.
Plus, pour some sugar on. Baker Dave will tell you about an event catered towards everyone with a sweet tooth.
Mystery continues to surround the investigation of a Temple coach. Simone Cucurullo will tell you which team is now looking for a new leader.
Taggart Houck will be back with the full forecast. Temple Update will be right back. Temple is often nicknamed Diversity University, but our London correspondent Tommy Sladek says his new city is just as diverse.
The year is 2015, and the faces of London are changing like never before. Journalist and social media expert Jamie Stiles has lived in outer London all his life, giving him the ability to experience firsthand what the growing diversity has done to the city.
Yeah, well, there's loads to do. You can go and see a football match, you can eat every type of food you can imagine, you can countless bars, and loads of people as well. It's all so busy.
With a diversifying population brings new culture, new ideas, and new food. Junaith Osborne, the owner of Desperados Authentic Restaurant in Greenwich, came over from Turkey for opportunities only London could offer.
I came here when I was 17 years old. I finished hotel management in my country, and I come here to learn English, improve my English, plus and work in a restaurant and work in a hotel.
Jan Hobbs, a lover of museums and coffee, welcomes all walks of life to the 8.6 million person city she calls home.
It's just, there's so much to see. You know, gardens, buildings, just watching people go by. Anyone can be a Londoner.
I'm a Londoner. I'm a Londoner.
I'm a Londoner. I'm a Londoner.
I am a Londoner.
I'm a Londoner.
I'm a Londoner.
I am a bloody Londoner.
When most people are asked what makes London so great, they think of the iconic visuals like Big Ben, the Parliament, and the London Eye, just to name a few. But what really makes this incredible city so special are the everyday people walking around you. Reporting for Temple Update in London, I'm Tommy Sladek.
Before I graduate, I want to have a dunk contest with Hooter the Owl, but I wasn't even eligible to enter the contest. We told you last week that Prowl and TUTV will make a graduation wish come true for one lucky senior. Now we have those 3 finalists. One student wished for a Temple flag signed by President Neil Theobald. Another wants to lead the national anthem at the graduation ceremony. And watch out for those flying hot dogs, because our last finalist wants to learn what it takes to fire the hot dog cannon. The official winner will be announced early next week. We'll have those results on Temple Update.
Has the stress of the semester left you in need of a hug? Well, the Residence Hall Association is here to help. On Wednesday, the RHA gave out warm and comforting hugs around campus to kick off their full week of events. Members of the RHA wore red shirts that said "Free Hugs" to let students know where they could get a loving embrace. The RHA will also host a movie night, a silent dance party, and a basketball tournament to round out a week of events.
Do you feel safe on campus? It's one of the first questions Temple students get when they say they go to school on North Broad. But Update's Michael Vizzoni shows us learning how to defend yourself can be a fun and healthy activity in this knockout story.
Course for students and local Philadelphians that enables those interested to learn practical and necessary self-defense techniques. Co-founded by two close friends, one being a Temple alumni, Philly Self-Defense has already become increasingly popular. So kick off those shoes and jump in the dojo.
Philly Self-Defense kind of came together about a year and a half ago. Both I and my partner Joe have been teaching for many years, and combined we have about 35 years combined of martial arts experience and training and teaching, and also in fitness. So I'm going to have these guys over.
I feel that the benefits here, training at Philadelphia Self-Defense, is that we encompass the whole 360 degrees of martial arts and self-defense, whether it's striking, grappling on the ground, primitive weapons, sticks and knives, and improvised weapons.
I've been training here for a little over a year now. I've loved it. I think it's been great. You know, everything's been super practical, a lot of fun. The instructors are great, and everyone else who trains here is really great. So I've enjoyed my time.
Turn your back and
Philadelphia may not be the safest city, but here at Philly Self-Defense, students are given practical solutions to real-life confrontations. Reporting for Temple Update, I'm Michael Vizzoni.
Coming up on Temple Update, still aboard that Dragon Wagon, Temple students lined up to meet the all-star pitcher of the Tanny Dragons.
Plus, the warmer weather may bring some rain along with it. Tag Halk is tracking those conditions in the Weather Center. Temple Update, we'll be right back. Diamond to the acres of diamonds. Philadelphia native Monet Davis stopped by Temple this week for a book signing. The famed Little Leaguer adds author to her list of accomplishments. She came to Temple to promote the self-titled book Monet Davis, Remember My Name. The 13-year-old discusses her journey to the Little League World Series and her thrust into the national spotlight. And Phil, Monet was actually at Temple last night to watch that NIT game.
Wow, that's incredible. She was, but let's check in with the other Monet, Simone Cucurullo at the sports desk.
Simone, a lot going on this week. Catch us up.
All right, guys. Well, there's only one school left in the Big Five playing postseason basketball, and I'll give you guys a hint. It's not Villanova. Hello, Al fans, and welcome to this edition of the Sports Desk. I'm Simone Cucurullo, here to bring you up to speed on all things cherry and white. First off, let's get started. One Temple coach will not be returning to the Owls next season. Temple Athletic Director Kevin Clark announced women's gymnastic coach Erin Murphy will not have his contract renewed for the 2015-2016 year. You may remember Temple suspended Murphy and was investigating him for possible violations of athletic department policy. We reached out to Murphy for comment, but he denied our request. Now, just when you think the basketball season is finally coming to an end, it keeps on going. Wins aren't the only thing that Temple basketball has to celebrate. Owls from both the men's and women's teams were granted good news this week with the announcement of the Philadelphia Big Five honors. First off, for the women's team, freshman Aaliyah Butts was named the Big Five Rookie of the Year. She was joined by teammate Erica Coville, who earned a second-team spot. For the men, Jalen Bond and Quentin DeCozy earned second-team honors, and senior Will Cummings was named to the league's first team. Here's what Will Cummings had to say after finding out about the honor.
I mean, it's cool, but I'm really focused on getting the Madison Square Garden. I mean, it's a great honor to be on the first team, but I'm really focused on keep playing basketball right now.
Now, women's basketball will be tipping off tonight against NC State in the WNIT, and men's basketball is headed to New York City to play in the Final Four of the men's NIT. But first, let's rewind to last Sunday morning as the Owls defeated George Washington to clinch that quarterfinal berth. Talk about a team effort. The Owls were led by seniors Will Cummings and Jesse Morgan. Cummings put up 21 points, followed by Morgan's 20. The seniors had help from junior Devin Coleman, who was absolutely on fire coming off the bench. Coleman had 13 points in just 16 minutes of play. The Owls crushed the Colonials 90-77, and that advanced them to last night's game against Louisiana Tech. Now in other news, the golf team is back on the green despite the not-so-spring-like weather. And also, don't forget, women's basketball tips off tonight at 7 p.m. And of course, men's hoops is headed to the Big Apple next week. Be sure to keep up to date with all of this and much more simply by following us on Twitter at @TU_SportsDesk. I'm Simone Cucurullo. Back to you guys in the studio.
Coming up on Temple Update, earn your credits while staying in bed. We'll tell you about Temple students who are taking advantage of online classes.
And is this rain going to finally wash winter away? I sure hope so, but Tag Hack will let us know for sure with the 5-day forecast coming up.
Baker Dave is always happy to serve a student with a sweet tooth. All sugar lovers were welcome to the Dress Your Dessert event at Morgan Hall. Warm churros could be decorated with a variety of toppings provided by TUTV's favorite baker. Events like this are free, and Baker Dave told Temple Update they're a great way to get people talking on campus.
Consume in one sitting. That was the goal, to get as much as possible.
Make sure you tune in to Baker Dave Presents on TUTV to see what's in the oven next.
Probably totally shouldn't do that.
Phil, I've said it like 8 times already, but the calendar says spring and the temperatures just aren't agreeing.
That's right, and Old Man Winter is fighting back as we still see lows in the 20s for this week.
Now, Tag, you're over there in the Weather Center. Contrary to my suspicions, you cannot change the weather, but you can give me good news.
Well, Becca, that really depends what you consider good news. But first, let's take a look here at Frank the Frat Boy. He's got spring fever, but he's not going anywhere without first sporting some protection from the rain. He's got his rain jacket on as he makes his way around campus. Now, moving on to your 5-day forecast, expect a slight chance of showers Friday morning as you make your way out the door to class. Now, those showers will start to disappear around noon as conditions will reach 51 degrees with cloudy skies. Now, Friday night will dip back into cool temperatures with a low of 34 degrees and a chance of rain mixing with some snow. Look for that wintry mix to clear into partly sunny skies and a high of 40 degrees by Saturday afternoon. And that sun will carry over to Sunday with a high near 46 degrees. And we're expecting a drop back to 34 degrees Sunday night and into Monday morning. Monday will be partly sunny with a high near 57 degrees. And hey, that may be enough for a good excuse to finally walk around and relax on Beery Beach. For more information on this week's weather, follow us on Twitter at @TU_WeatherWatch. Back to you guys.
Talk about the luck of the Irish for a pair of twin sisters from South Carolina. Both gave birth to their baby boys on St. Patrick's Day. The sisters, who gave birth only hours apart from each other, knew that their due dates were going to be close, but were shocked to give birth on the exact same day.
It is absolutely the cutest social media trend in a long time, and probably the only one I didn't find annoying. Instagram and Facebook celebrated National Puppy Day on Monday. Check out these adorable furry friends, and I gotta say, I think I liked every single one I came across. The event is a holiday to celebrate puppies and to encourage adoption. Now that's all for Temple Update. For all the latest, log on to our website, templeupdate.com.
Don't forget to follow and like us on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter.
And as always, you can watch us 24/7 on TempleTV.net and Comcast Channel 50, Verizon Fios Channel 45. For Phil DuPont and the rest of the Update team, I'm Becca Hendrickson.
We'll see you next time.